I love the theme of the crucible because of what it is. And by the way, we all basically know what it is, right? But I looked up exactly the definition today, and it's the definition: a crucible is a vessel in which metallic elements are melted to be cast into new objects or to create a new alloy. Crucibles are traditionally made from ceramic materials, which can withstand very high temperatures. And when I read that and remembered it, I thought, man, what a great name for a craft camp, a Black Belt retreat. Because the experience itself is the crucible, right? It is the container in which you are formed and forged in the fires to become Black Belt leaders, to become senior Black Belts, to become master instructors. And then the thing that I love one step further is that in the same way as the nature of the vessel, the crucible, is that it can withstand high temperatures, you become a crucible yourself. Right? Like, we know that one of the most amazing deliverables of being a Black Belt is that you can survive and thrive any situation. Which, by the way, for me is why I take it so seriously, and it has to be real. The test has to be real. Because if not, then you're not prepared for any situation. A KMMA Black Belt is prepared to survive and thrive anything, whether that be an act of violence, whether that be a pandemic, whether that be an economic downturn, whether that be a sickness. And as you know, there are a lot of important attributes that we develop on the way to becoming a Black Belt. But as I thought about the theme of the crucible, I realized that this is one of the most important ones. That there is no such thing as something that can crush us. That the things that happen are just the things that happen. Circumstances are circumstances, but of course, it's not just a quaint saying. Life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it.
As Grandmaster likes to say, though, you should never accomplish a goal without setting the next one. My next goals are to become a third-degree Black Belt, the youngest KMMA head instructor, and to master my 540. Over the years, I have learned to kick, punch, and defend myself. God willing, I'll never have to use any of it. What is important, though, is all the life and leadership lessons I have gained throughout learning those physical skills. Some of these lessons are focus, teamwork, and blowing past mistakes. Focus is the ability to block out distractions and concentrate on what's important, which has come pretty naturally to me. The kind of focus that I have developed is focusing on what you want, not what you don't want. If you're always looking at all the closed doors, you'll never notice all of the open ones. So always look at the positives.
Grandmaster's life work and his legacy, Krav Maga martial arts, is designed to help shape and mold the character of each student as it reveals itself through the hard work and determination to become the best version of themselves as a student, a person, and in whatever career or adventure the future holds. Does every white belt become a black belt? No. Does every student progress in the same way? No. Is it hard to quit when the going gets rough? No. But does each student start out as a white belt? Yes. Does each student have a choice to work hard or hardly work? Yes. Can every student who refuses to quit become a black belt? Yes. Our lives are filled with choices. We get to choose how much or how little we give to everything we do. In the long run, there is no magic pill, there is no shortcut, there is no hack. But where there is courtesy, modesty, integrity, perseverance, self-control, and the indomitable spirit, there is victory. Krav Maga martial arts is in a symbiotic relationship with your will. If you do your part, Grandmaster's KMMA will do its part, and you will become better and better, and one day you can be like the great Sheehan Harley and the soon-to-be Sheehan Kyle, the amazing Sensei Sarah, or even Grandmaster. Right now, though, here we are. We made it to this place and at this time by the sweat of our brows and the courage of our hearts. We will step up to the tasks that are before us, and we will remember our training. We will refuse to give up, and we will also remember that this weekend holds invaluable pieces of the puzzle that will continue to define us no matter who we are for the rest of our lives. Dr. Maya Angelou said, "You may forget what a person has said, what a person has done, but you will never, ever forget how they made you feel."
I can't believe I get to talk to all of you about something really cool. I'm getting my black belt. Yep, that's right. I'm officially becoming a black belt, or a probationary, whatever you want to call it. And it's been an incredible journey so far. When I first started this adventure, I was a little kid, and I wanted to be strong and confident. And I was so excited to be able to train with my dad. There were days when I felt tired, and there were moves that seemed impossible. But I learned that hard work and practice can make the impossible possible. Every time I got up after falling down, I felt a little stronger, a little braver, and a whole lot more confident. My instructors and my friends at the dojo are amazing. They cheered me on and taught me amazing things. They always believed in me when I didn't believe when sometimes I didn't believe in myself. They taught me about respect, discipline, and perseverance, and those lessons are not just for the dojo, they're for life. School, work, home, all those, and more. One of the coolest things I learned on this journey to black belt isn't just about being a great fighter, it's about being a great person. It's about using what you've learned to help others and to stand up for what's right and to be a friend to everyone. I'm super proud of this black belt, but I also know that it's just the beginning. There's so much more to learn and discover, and I can't wait to see where the journey takes me next.
My journey into the world of Krav Maga began with a simple desire to find a fun hobby that my son and I could enjoy together. I wanted him to understand the profound lessons that martial arts could offer: confidence, vision, respect, and good manners. Like many others, I was grateful for the martial arts training I received during my younger days. I knew the martial arts could be a game changer for my son, but what I didn't anticipate was how much this journey would change me. You see, as I ventured into Krav Maga, I stumbled upon an unexpected hurdle that transformed not just my physical state, but also my mental fortitude. I allowed myself to become what some might affectionately call soft over the years, physically out of shape and mentally hesitant. I convinced myself that avoiding challenges and staying firmly in my comfort zone was the way to go. My mind was quick to remind me that I was too old, that I was too out of shape, that I was too banged up from my glory days of hockey to take on this challenge. But as they say, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And so I took that step onto the training mats. One of the very first lessons Krav Maga impacted upon me was that confidence isn't something you're born with. It's a quality that you nurture through effort and experience. As I immersed myself in the martial arts training, I faced countless obstacles and setbacks. Yet with every challenge I overcame, I began to realize that I'm able to achieve much, much more than I ever imagined. Martial arts is an ongoing journey of self-improvement. Much like attempting to fold a fitted sheet, it's an endeavor that requires persistence and dedication. Every class, every belt test became an opportunity to build on my self-esteem. The encouragement and support of my instructors and fellow students played a pivotal role in boosting my confidence. They saw the potential in me when I couldn't see it in myself. Their guidance and belief in my abilities pushed me through the breaking points. It's nothing short of magical how a community united by a shared passion can help you overcome your strengths and elevate your self-esteem. Krav Maga also taught me to view failure as a stepping stone to success. Every stumble, every mistake in training became a lesson in humility and resilience. Instead of letting failure feed my self-doubt, I started to see that it's a valuable opportunity for growth. I learned that every setback was merely a setup for a spectacular comeback.
Grandmaster, you wrote me a note when I broke my first board, when I was purple belt or brown belt. I've had it on my shelf for all these years. It says, Flynn, You are getting better every day, and I'm very proud of you for sticking to it. And you are going to make an awesome black belt. I'm so glad I did stick to it like you said. I will be honest, I have not always wanted to come to class, but I'm so glad that you have kept encouraging me, and my mom and dad who always got me to classes, because if I wanted to come to class or not, after class, I'm always glad and excited to come back for the next class.
I'm really, it's so nice to hear from the other my fellow Krav parents out here, because like you did, I made a choice that day where I decided to put down my cell phone. I decided I'm not going to work while my kids are taking class. I'm going to get up and take class with them, and I'm so glad I made that choice. And now, after 10 years, I've actually worn a variation of black belt longer than I wore the colorful Q rank belts. So that's really interesting, and I really wanted to reflect on why that is. So when I thought about it, I thought of a couple quotes. I have no idea where these quotes come from, if I'm even going to get them right, but they've stuck in my head. The first one is, everyone must start at the beginning. Approaching something with a beginner's mind, continually looking for opportunities to learn, and then there will always be a new beginning, no matter how much one progresses. That's one. The other one was, just when you think you know something, think again. Now, again, I'm not sure where the first quote comes from, but it really stuck with me as an important one for the black belt journey. Approaching something with a beginner's mind. It's really, you experience this firsthand on your journey to black belt, having that beginner's mindset and absorbing everything that you're learning. And you think about it as a beginner, you're really, moving up to that peak. I know someone else spoke about this. You're moving up to that peak, and you get to that peak, and then there you are looking out again. And that trek is really what is exciting.
For those of you that know me today, you see before you, hopefully, a strong and confident young woman who has the ability and the responsibility to lead and achieve that which she sets out to achieve. And I'm sorry about this. You see a black belt, teacher, a friend, role model. It would shock you to witness the person I was before I started here at KMMA. Anybody that I trained with the first couple of years of my journey, you'll remember her. Young Sarah was quiet and wouldn't speak unless spoken to. She didn't think really too much of herself, and she definitely never would have gotten on stage to speak with you today. And as cool as it is to be able to kick to the head and to defend yourself against a knife or a stick or a gun, the most impressive transformation I have gone through is my growth as a person. My desire for my physical health and fitness, it grew with Krav Maga. It also does change the way you live your life. The black belt is not just a rope around your waist. It is a lifestyle. It is what you choose to be. So my mental state improved along with my confidence. Young Sarah struggled with many things, all of which were common for youth to face today: doubt, low self-esteem, and most of all, fear. It goes without saying that fear is a very driving factor in the decisions that we make every day. And though there are quite a few ways to help us understand, deal with, and even conquer fear, it is one of our most challenging obstacles that we face. We will never be completely rid of it. Now, on the other hand, fear can serve us well. If we weren't just a little bit afraid of getting struck by lightning, right, during a storm, we wouldn't seek shelter, and then that very thing could end up happening to us. Now, fear can keep us from safe things that could hurt us, or keep us safe from things that can hurt us. But on the other hand, it also has the devastating potential to hold us back. As Grandmaster is fond of saying, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. My greatest fears held me back from excellence for many years, leaving me with a great appreciation for this particular lesson. If I had allowed my fear to prevent me from taking those shots, I would not be here today. I have a deep appreciation for Grandmaster and Sensei Thomas specifically for never giving me that option to quit.
Now, as some of you may or may not know, I had trained in martial arts previously. I trained in Shotokan karate and received my black belt when I was in high school. And then I had an extremely long gap from martial arts due to my medical training and, life. Once I had started working and had somewhat of my life back after residency, I had wanted to go back and train in Shotokan because I missed it. But I kept telling myself I wouldn't look or train like a black belt since so much time had passed. So I told myself I'd work out, and I'd get my strength back, and I'd get my speed back, and then I would go back to my dojo. But even more years went by, and I didn't join. The reason I ended up choosing a different style was because I told myself, no one will know anything about me, and I'll look like a white belt. I had my first class with Sensei Sarah, and it went great, and I felt at ease. Then I had my very first actual class, and Grandmaster happened to be teaching it. We started the shoulder touch drill. Grandmaster came up to me and said, "You have very good technique. What did you train in?" I said, "Shotokan," and I thought, I guess I still got a little something. We were only about 10 minutes into class when Grandmaster starts telling a story. He said, "Paratroopers always recognize other paratroopers the way black belts always recognize other black belts." And he looked directly at me. I was in shock. All I could think was, how did he know? I went home and I told my parents. I was like, "Mom, Dad, he knew I was a black belt. After all these years, after all this time, he knew." I realized after that day that the only reason for my excuses was because I had stopped believing in myself. I had lost my confidence, and I had stopped believing I was a black belt. I had just given up on myself in a lot of ways. Grandmaster, thank you for seeing in me what I failed to see in myself, because that single moment changed my life in so many ways. I made a promise to myself to show up and train and act like a black belt both inside and outside of the dojo. I started to truly embody the leadership principles and the virtues in the student creed and applied them to all areas of my life. Whenever I was faced with a challenge, I told myself it was only a lesson to make me stronger, because a black belt never quits. We only evolve and we grow.
Where this confidence really comes into play is in everything. When I started out in the martial arts when I was 4, my parents brought me in saying, "He has too much energy, we need him to use it." Shia and Carolyn can attest to that. I had too much energy. They're like, "Use it here, not at home." So they brought me in, and I was so afraid. I would be that kid that's literally grabbing the back of the leg, going down, crying, head tucked in. You probably never see me now because I'm super confident up here, but I was the kid who's so afraid to step on the mat. I had to have my parents forcefully take me onto the mat to get me started. Don't worry, that ended quickly. I got in class, punched a couple things, said, "I'm in love, parents, go over there." So that's kind of my first class. Then comes in to another part that I started learning, which is leadership. Sorry, it was rocking, bugging me. Leadership. When I was 6 years old, I wanted to help assist classes. Saw Sensei Julie up there and a bunch of other assistants kind of standing around, helping out, holding pads. And I said, "That was cool, let me do it." Talked to my parents talked to Grandmaster, and Grandmaster said, "Not until you're purple belt." And I'm like, shoot. 3 months go by, finally get my purple belt, step on the mat. Tons of fun, loved it. And even though I may not have shown it at the time, I was having a blast. And I was that assistant, we all know him, that goes to the pad, goes, "Awesome job," drops the pad, high five, picks back up. You all know, like, really, you don't gotta drop the pad, just keep holding on to it. I was that kid. But that started me on the process of leadership. Then over the next couple of years, I assisted classes, then went to Parents Night Outs, started doing eventually assisting with summer camps galore. And then I learned another valuable thing that is actually starting to define my life and what I want to do for my college years is service. And what I really mean about service is about serving others to help them better themselves. When I started the martial arts, I wasn't thinking I would be in the area of service, but I ended up being in it now. During those points of being purple belt all the way up to first degree black belt, I remember seeing the kids that started like me, being the goofballs, would go up, do a round kick, fall every time just to get the attention. And then even, we have video proof of this, I would go do a round kick, forget to fall, go to the back of the line, then fall at the back of the line to say I fell for every kick. Yes, that was Sensei Ben. So with that, I saw the improvement of those kids that were just like me going through, and I realized I want to be a part of making people better. I want to be a part of seeing the potential people can become. And as a 12-year-old, my original thought at that point was, isn't it cool to see me make other people better? Starts at the surface. Now I can define it what it truly is.
I have been training under Grandmaster Del Castillo for almost my entire life. Not consistently and not always comfortably, but this is where I grew up, physically, emotionally, and in the sense of moving up through the ranks. As previously stated, I have not been consistent. I've trained on and off for 20 years, actively for about a total of 13. I started at the age of 3. I got my probationary black belt at age 12, and my certified first degree black belt at age 13, which was actually 10 years ago yesterday. And now I'm testing for my second degree black belt to become a black belt leader 10 years later at the age of 23. My journey to black belt leader has been eventful, both good and bad. However, as we always say, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. I may not have always reacted effectively immediately, but the paths I did choose ultimately led me back to the place I was always meant to be. The dojo has been my home, my comfort, my safe haven. It is the place I run to in times of turmoil, in times of joy, in times of fear, and in times of plain boredom. No matter what I have going on, I have always been welcomed with open arms and have been lifted up no matter how far I have fallen. It is a place where it is okay to mess up and make mistakes sometimes, because it's better to learn those sorts of things in a controlled setting around people who care for you and do their best to ensure your safety than it is to mess up when it's real. Like we always say, you can get stabbed by a rubber knife all day long, but the reason we train as if is because when it's real, the knife won't be rubber. When it's real, you need to be prepared.
With the tools you develop at Krav Maga martial arts, you'll be able to have the ability to defend yourself in a variety of situations. But as you probably gathered already, the kicking and punching is just a small percentage of what martial arts is about. I have a quote that summarizes martial arts so well, and it states, "Martial arts are seen as expressions of valor, chivalry, and self-sacrifice. It is a philosophy which stresses that people should live in peace and harmony. Martial arts philosophy emphasizes on the essence of self-control, respect for others, and the positive perspective to strive for the best in life." You see, martial arts is about setting standards to hold yourself to, learning how to be patient, looking out for your brothers and sisters to your left and right, setting and achieving goals, and creating leaders of this generation and generations to come. As an adult, you begin to see the small things that over time make a big impact. One of those small things is good discipline. In the Marine Corps, discipline is simply defined as instant and willing obedience to all orders. While that may be fitting in a military aspect, discipline is so much more than that. Discipline is what gets you out of bed 2 hours before you need to leave work so you can get your workout in. It is what keeps you from finishing that bag of chips when you said you were only going to have a few. It is the thing that will keep you taking that next step towards your goal even when you don't want to. Discipline is like learning to lead. To be a good leader, you must first be a good follower. Discipline starts with just doing what you're told. In the martial arts, this starts with the simple rules of bowing onto the mat, standing and kneeling when told to, being reminded to say yes sir and yes ma'am, and maintaining a required, respectable appearance with your uniform and the way you tie your belt. The belt system itself has a huge impact on how you achieve goals. It teaches you patience and allows you to have small achievements towards a larger goal. Standing on the stage receiving your black belt. As an adult looking back, it is easy to see where the discipline was instilled in me as a child has transformed into my personal and professional career and has made me the man who I am today.
It's been a heck of a journey, as I said. But in the end, it's that constant persistence and determination that have got me to 5th degree. Going through the law of the process, the bad times and the good, has ensured the success which I'm enjoying today. Quick show of hands. Has anybody here, no matter what your rank, has anybody here ever thought they didn't want to go to class, they couldn't be bothered, and they went anyway, and then they kind of ended up going, you know, class was really good tonight. Yeah? Yeah? That's the time when the persistence and determination of which I speak comes to the forefront, when you feel like quitting, when you'd rather just get on TikTok or whatever it is. Where do we go these days? TikTok, Facebook, yeah, you guys know. Yeah, when you feel like you'd rather do that than go to Krav, that's when the determination and persistence of which I speak kicks in. And I'd like to close with one more quote. Promised you I'd keep it relatively short. I'd like to close with one more quote from someone that Grandmaster and I look to as a great mentor. I refer, of course, to Sir Winston Churchill. See if you can spot my modification. Grandmaster Steve, never in the field of Krav Maga has so much been owed by so many to so few. Thank you so much.
You guys are going to help me out with this one. Life is 10% what happens to you, and life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to it. This is, if you understand the saying, some of the kids might not yet, but one day you will, is a lesson that you can carry throughout your life in anything. So being able to stay calm when things go wrong, which inevitably they will, and being able to react to it is the more important part. It doesn't matter what goes wrong because something will go wrong along the way, but the way that you react to it is what really matters. And this is one of the things I feel like in my life, day to day, I'm able to calmly assess things and I'm able to react appropriately. And leading into that, I mean, I have some friends, I know some other people, I'm sure everybody knows some people who don't often react very well to things, which leads me into my next thing, is there's a quote, I don't remember who by, but show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So this is one of the ones in the last few years especially that I've not necessarily, well, yes, grown to live by, but understand much deeper in the sense that I've had friends in the past who, for lack of a better way to say it, if I would have continued to be friends with them, probably would have went down a way better or a way different path, not for the better. So by being able to choose your friends and the people that you hang out with, the things that you listen to and watch, and the people that you're with, which you guys are with some really great people here, so you're already off to a great start on that, will determine your future. And the next one is, in general, perseverance. A lot of people have talked about in their speeches persistence, perseverance, never giving up, however you choose to say it. And two of the kind of sayings that we say around the dojo a lot that I like is either one, you win, or you learn. So failure is not something to be afraid of. It's not something to, like, you shouldn't avoid trying to fail. Rather, when you fail, you should see what can you learn from it. This is another one of the things that I've been able to really see in my day-to-day life, especially like going through college and things like that. There's been several failures and I just see what can I learn from it and I keep moving on. And how this pertains to your guys' journey is progress, not perfection. It's along the same kind of theme in that you guys will show up to classes and you'll have tons and tons of little small failures. And if you're any kind of a perfectionist like I am, then you'll beat yourself up over it. But rather than doing that, you should see what can you learn from it and just keep going on, because every single day that you come to class, you're going to get a little bit better.